BTS News Today. Busan, the port city that embraced the waves and stories of the past, now holds a story that made millions of ARMY hearts tremble. Two names, two souls, two men who were both born from the womb of the city. BTS's Jimin and Jungkook. They are not just group mates or stage mates. Behind the jokes, the camera's glare, and the cheers of fans, there is another story that is slowly coming to the fore. The question is no longer simply, are they close? But rather, how deep did the relationship grow? And what did they really hide from the world? This story is not about a fan service plot or artificial drama. It is about two young people who grow up together in the rigors of the entertainment industry, yet still keep something so pure between them. Many call them soulmates of Busan. But the more popular and evocative term is Busan Girlfriend, a nickname that is now firmly attached to Jimin and Jungkook. It's not just a funny label. He became a representation of a complicated but beautiful relationship, silent but resounding in every look of their eyes. Since their debut, Jimin and Jungkook's closeness has been a concern for ARMY. Jimin, who is 2 years older, has always shown a protective side to the group's magne. Jungkook, who is initially shy and stiff, slowly opens up to Jimin. The camera captures small moments, a gaze that takes longer than it should, a hug that is too tight, or a smile that only appears when the two of them are together. But is it just an ordinary friendship? Or is there something deeper and never really revealed? In the past few months, rumors have been circulating again. Although both artists are currently serving their mandatory military service, rumors of secret codes, hidden letters, and indirect messages through social media have led the ARMY to speculate, is their closeness still strong despite distance and state duty? One of the moments that got everyone excited was when Jungkook mentioned Jimin's name in a live broadcast, even though he almost never mentioned the other members in a personal context these days. His tone softened, as if the burden of longing he could no longer hide. Not only that, Jimin was also seen several times showing expressions that changed drastically when Jungkook became a topic of conversation. Even in an interview before military enlistment, Jimin was silent for a long time when he was asked who he was most worried about during the service. She didn't say a name, but her tears answered everything. The interview sparked great speculation among ARMY, especially those who followed the dynamics of the two's relationship from the beginning. In the past, their relationship has also been marked by distance. There was a time when Jimin and Jungkook seemed to drift apart. There was no interaction as usual, no spontaneous hugs, no their typical laughter. But after that, it was precisely their closeness that returned with a stronger intensity. Many believe that the period of the break was an important moment that made them realize that each other is the most comfortable home. Not a few soldiers wrote theories about how they learned to understand each other's boundaries, cultivate deeper respect, and maybe admit to feelings that had been stored. The nickname Busan Girlfriend is not just the origin appeared. It is born from a long story, from thousands of small moments that serve as proof that there is something different in this relationship. The devoted fans trace their footsteps since trainee, discovering how Jimin has often been a figure of encouragement to Jungkook as he struggles to adjust. On the other hand, Jungkook, who is very picky about emotional closeness, gives his most vulnerable side only to Jimin. This is no ordinary love story. This is a story of trust, sacrifice, and emotional connection that is difficult to describe with just the word friendship. As the world watched them stand on stage with highlights and boisterous voices, few actually saw each other's gazes. There was a silent language between them. Even in group photographs, often their eyes are looking for each other, as if making sure that they remain in the same orbit. Many fans write poems and songs based on their dynamics. There is even a fan art community whose entire work is centered on Busan Girlfriend. Undeniably, this relationship has become a source of inspiration for many, as proof that love, in any form, can grow in silence and still shine even without recognition. In a world full of demands and expectations like the K-pop industry, expressing unusual closeness can be a risk. They know that, but both chose to remain authentic. Jungkook once said that he can only be himself around people who make him feel safe. Many believe it was Jimin. Today, despite the fact that they are far from each other due to state duty, their story still lives in the hearts of fans. They may not talk about each other every day, but when they do, the world stops for a moment. Every word, every glance at the song they choose becomes a puzzle that millions of hearts who love them are trying to solve. As time passed and BTS's popularity as a global phenomenon increased, the pressure felt by each member grew. Especially for these two young people from Busan, who are now not only world idols but also symbols of hope, love, and deep friendship for millions of fans. Amid the hustle and bustle of international schedules, stadium concerts, and industry expectations, there is one thing that always comes back to being a safe harbor for both each other. Jimin and Jungkook know, perhaps more than anyone, that the world is not always hospitable to affinities that cannot be explained with ordinary words. However, they never imposed definitions. They never gave official statements, but they also never hid completely. They let the world second-guess, letting body language and silence speak louder than words. There is one moment that is still remembered by the ARMY, when during a concert in Seoul, Jungkook seemed to hold back tears when Jimin spontaneously hugged him from behind after the song was over. It's not part of the choreography. It was purely a feeling that exploded on stage. And when asked about it backstage, both just smiled, as if agreeing that not everything needs to be explained. Jimin once said in an interview, "There are people I will always carry in my heart, no matter where I am." Many fans believe he is talking about Jungkook. The words are simple, but judging by their history, their meaning is deep. On the other hand, Jungkook once confessed that Jimin is a person who makes him feel calmer when he is anxious, someone who can read him even when he doesn't say anything. Now, when both are serving in the army, the longing is felt not only by them, but also by fans. Many say that the world feels a little quieter without the moments of Busan girlfriend, who has been an entertainer in the midst of harsh reality. But they still leave traces in the form of old videos, short clips, and sweet memories that seem timeless. What makes Jimin and Jungkook's relationship so special is not just because of their closeness, but rather because that closeness grew in a world full of pressure and demands. They grew from shy teenagers into mature men who still find warmth in each other's laughter. Many people crave such relationships, no drama, no falsehood, just slowly growing honesty. Some may wonder, are they really more than just friends? But maybe that's not the most important question. More important is how they continue to care for, respect, and strengthen each other, even in silence. They don't need labels, because their connections speak for themselves. In every concert, every interview, every small interaction, the story of Busan Girlfriend continues like an endless song written by time and stored in the hearts of millions of fans. And maybe, behind it all, only the two of them really know what the true meaning of everything they've been through together is. Some sources in the Korean entertainment industry, while not naming names directly, have discussed the two members of the famous group having the most sincere relationship ever seen backstage. Many are convinced that the statement refers to Jimin and Jungkook. Of all the BTS members, they are the ones who most often take care of each other without being asked. Even when the cameras weren't on, when there were no fans around, the two showed an unchanging closeness. In one of the BTS documentaries, there was a scene where Jimin gently patted Jungkook on the back, who was looking frustrated with the results of his vocal training. No big words, no dramatization. But from the look in Jungkook's eyes, it seemed that the touch had a calming power. It is a form of love, not love that needs to be announced, but love that is shown through small but consistent actions.